Welcome to Greek for a Week. Glad you decided to join us this week. And this week we are looking at verses 25 and 26 of chapter 1 of the book of Philippians. And as you notice here, we have been in the paragraph verses 12 through 26 for quite some time. So we'll be wrapping up the paragraph this week. And then next week we will diagram verses 12 through 26 as a paragraph. So let's go ahead and take a look at these two verses, 25 and 26, see how they might be translated, and then see how we can maybe look at a few grammatical and syntactical things that will help us better understand how Paul is putting things together. So he writes, "And convinced of this, I know that I will remain and I will continue with all of you for your progress and joy in the faith, so that your confidence may abound in Christ Jesus because of me through my coming to you again." So as we look at these two verses here, let me make note again just of a few things, but let's also keep verse 24 in mind, because verse 24, he mentions the concept here that he's remaining in the flesh is more necessary for your sake or for the sake of you. So with that in mind, he's confident and convinced of basically what he will do in a sense for their benefit. So you have here the pepoithos. There is a perfect active participle, masculine nominative singular, probably a causal participle or a participle of cause. So you could word it in because I'm convinced of this. This is what I know. So convinced of this, here's your tu ta. Again, that's probably referencing back to verse 24. Okay, in verse 24, which means if it refers back, it would be anaphoric. Then you have oida, another verb here, which is a first person singular, perfect, again, active indicative of course, the word oida. So notice the perfect here and the perfect participle here, they establish and they express, if you will, Paul's current state of conviction and knowledge. If you recall, the perfect tense form has a given aspect of stative, which just simply means that the stative aspect expresses that state of affairs or the current state of something without reference to time. Then you have a conjunction here, hati, which is a hati of content. When Paul says, I know, oida, that, and then what is it that I know? And that is that he will remain, okay? He will remain and he will continue with all of you. The meno, notice the meno here with the circumflex above the omega. That is a first person singular future active indicative, again, of meno. But recall that is a future liquid verb. And so when I put the sigma omega ending, future ending onto meno, the sigma cannot stand next to a liquid, which the liquid would be the nu here. And so therefore the sigma drops out and I have a circumflex there. And then the ace here, prepositional phrase moving forward, probably is one of purpose. So he says here, for your progress. So I will remain, I will continue with you, again, for the purpose of your progress and your joy in the faith. Then you have a hina in verse 26, probably a hina of result. The result will be the boasting will continue in Christ Jesus. The peri sue here is a subjunctive, and it's a subjunctive because we go back to the hina here. Third person singular, present active subjunctive of peri suo. Then you have two more prepositional phrases. You have en Christo Jesu. That would be probably a dative of sphere. So you're going to abound where? And that would be in Christ Jesus. Then another en emoi. Okay, another en here in the dative. I'm going to suggest here probably cause. That would suggest that you may abound in Christ Jesus. Why? Because of me. And then the dia clause moving forward would be means, through the means of me coming to you again. So again, Paul's put quite an impactful tone to these two verses to help the Philippians understand how Paul staying there would benefit them, which again communicates his circumstances, which is really the latter half of this entire paragraph, whereas the gospel is also mentioned throughout this paragraph. So trust this has been helpful. It's been a little bit later than normal this week. I had some things were being repaired on my iPad, which is what I use to communicate these videos. So just a little bit late in publishing this. Trust you have a great week. Again, we will look at verses 12 through 26 as an entire diagram next week.